Hey, party people. Welcome to Watch Me Design a Fashion Collection, part 10. And in this video, like usually in this series, you guys are watching me draw stuff, pick stuff, select stuff, collage stuff, and that's what I've been doing all along. But I wanted to take a little break and address how I am going to design moving forward, because I have a personal design philosophy called the head and heart of fashion. And this is not an industry term. This is another zoism. My students started calling these things that I make up zoisms. My sayings, we're not made of magic, we're made of practice. These sayings, they started calling them zoisms. And this is kind of a design philosophy that I have, the head and heart of fashion. And just like any other physically healthy body requires a healthy head and a healthy heart, good fashion design requires a balance of both. Now, what I call the head is the logistics. Okay? And not just supply chain and production and product development and having the right people working, although those are all important too. But strictly when it comes to design, what I mean is thinking logically. What is it that my customer needs? What fabrics are going to serve my customer and at what price point? Okay. Are my fabrics meeting the price point? And I mention this now because I'm at the stage in the design process where I've picked a bunch of fabrics. I'm going to start editing them now, and I'm going to start doing more sketching and garment development. And it's funny, like in the real world, if I was doing this with a design team, like designers fall into two categories. Either one, they start getting super decisive. It's like, all right, we're editing. We got to make decisions. We got to write purchase orders for sample yardage. Let's do this. And they just snap to it. It's no longer like, oh, this is nice, and this is nice, and oh, I like this. No, it's like, all right, they need 6 weeks to get sample yardage. These people, they'll send them to us tomorrow, whatever. And then they start getting organized. And then there are other designers where like, money? We have to spend money? I don't have money. Oh, okay. Now I'm stuck. Everything is so expensive. Why is everything so expensive? Okay, so most likely you'll fall somewhere in between the two extremes that I just vocalized. But yeah, so we're at the stage where we have to, choose our fabrics, choose what we need, bottom weights, top weights, okay? What does our customer need from us? My collection that I'm designing right now, I'm doing all genders. I'm doing multiple seasons, so nothing too light, nothing too heavy. I have a price point. Remember, we went through the initial costing, and so I know, for main fabric yardage, how the budget I have for each fabric. Again, it's always back to the customer. You know how I'm always saying, you don't design for yourself, you design for your customer. So think, my customer needs workout gear. And they don't want workout gear that's skin tight. Everyone is doing skin tight workout gear, but they're working out because they don't feel that great about their bodies yet. And so they don't want everything sticking to them. They would like some boxy, bright fun colors, but a boxier fit that they can feel a little bit more comfortable in until they get fit. Okay, that's my customer. So my customer is gonna fit into this price point, and these are the fabrics that I can afford for this line that I'm designing for them. And this is how I'm addressing the needs of my customer. That's the head. And when you are designing, it's like going back to the customer. Is this a boxy silhouette? Does this move? Is it a breathable fabric that they can go jogging in? Going back constantly to the actual needs of the customer. Always designing back. Okay? Anytime you lose your way and you start thinking, oh, does this look right? Go back to what you're originally trying to help your customer achieve. The heart of design is really where fashion is. Any moron with a scrap of fabric can make a dress. Okay? That sounds harsh, but it's true. Garment industry, they make pants, they make shirts, they make underwear, okay? But the fashion industry is about evoking feelings and telling stories. When you take that garment into the dressing room with you, okay, it doesn't matter if you took 6 of your best friends, your most brutally honest best friends, and they're all hooping and hollering saying you look amazing in something. If you don't feel amazing, you don't want it. I mean, if it's a gift, you might be like, okay, buy it for me, but you're never gonna love it. Okay? You have to get that feeling like, yes, this feels right. Yes, I feel confident and I feel like I can take over the world in this suit. Or I feel so utterly glamorous in this dress. Yes, I need this dress. Okay? Fashion is in those feelings. Now, this is different from being inspired by a mood. We touched on this briefly about how some people are inspired by a mood or a particular kind of music that evokes a certain mood, okay? This is different. I mean, you might be inspired by anger and a certain violence and forcefulness, makes your dresses look really graphic and harsh with hard angles. But does that mean you want your customer to put your dress on and feel angry and violent? Not necessarily, right? So it's different from being inspired by a mood and the mood and how a customer feels when they put on your clothes. Fashion is also in the stories. Okay? The easiest way I can explain this is, look at basics. Think about all the brands in the world that do basics. Look at this long sleeve black t-shirt. I have like 30 of them. Seriously, you've seen me do like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of videos wearing a long sleeve black t-shirt. You think this is the same one? No, I have like 30 of them. And they come from all different brands. And you can't tell the difference. You don't know, like, oh, is that a J. Crew one? Is that a James Purse one? You can't tell because they're all long sleeve black t-shirts. And yeah, unless you started examining the stitching, maybe, but you don't know. So why would I pick a certain brand of long sleeve black t-shirt over another? Think about it like this. Uniqlo, the Japanese mass market basics brand, versus The Gap, American, been around for a while, preppy, classic, basic, right? Now, for a lot of us fashion types, we would tend to gravitate towards Uniqlo. I'm generalizing, of course. We would go to Uniqlo because they are fashionable. They're chic, they're trendy, they're hip. Yeah, everything the Japanese make is hip and trendy and fashionable, okay? So when you say things like, I got this from Japan, people are like, ooh. Case in point, I shoot videos of hauls of art supplies that I buy all over the place. My Japan hauls have like 50,000 views. Everything else, a few thousand. Like, they're still popular videos, but not even in the 5 digits, okay? Everybody thinks Japan is the coolest. I agree, Japan is very, very cool. However, that's a perception and a story and a brand. And so you walk into Uniqlo, you feel more fashionable because of this brand and this story that they're telling. Whereas The Gap, you have this Gap story. And for those of you who appreciate more the Gap story, you're more preppy, you're more classic, you're more Americana. That's the feeling you're going with. That's the story you're going with. And honestly, it's a long sleeve black t-shirt. Do you know where this one is from? I don't actually remember. I would have to look at the tag right now. I have so many of them. Our choices to buy basic t-shirts at specific places are all is the clearest example they can give you of how feelings and stories around a brand can really are really what fashion is about and what pushes the consumer into one brand over another. These feelings, these stories, these should be part of the DNA of your brand. Okay, if you are developing a brand for yourself, okay, think, what is my story? Okay, what is my brand's story? And it should be your brand story, not your personal story, because hopefully you're going to be one of those amazing people whose brand lives beyond you. What is your story, and what is the feeling you want your customers to have when they put their clothes on, your clothes on, okay? And there is no, right or wrong answer, okay? The wrong answer is a wishy-washy, not concrete answer, okay? Where you're like, I just like want to make some cute stuff. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with making a bunch of cute stuff, but I promise you, the most successful brands have a story and evoke a particular feeling. So it's like this, head and heart together, okay? So your head says, my customer, I see a gap in the market. And the gap in the market that I see is that women do not have enough professional attire that is still chic and affordable. And I want to fill that gap. All the stuff that's out there that's affordable is just like party clothes and jeans, and that's cool, but women also need to go to work. Young women who don't have a lot of money still need to go to work. There's a gap in the market there, and I want to fill that gap. That's the head part. The heart part is when women put my clothes on, my brand's clothes on, I want them to feel confident. I want them to feel strong. I want them to feel empowered. I want them to have freedom of movement in these comfortable work clothes. And I want them to feel like they can go to work and do anything, and get that promotion and get that raise. And, I want them to feel like, yes, this makes me feel confident. This makes me look well put together and professional and chic, okay? The head and the heart. And as a designer, you need to be aware of both and design with both. Even if your brand evolves later to include party clothes, to include lingerie, to include, your story will, the kernel of your story, your origin story will remain the same. I wanted young people to have clothes that they can feel confident and professional in. Maybe you move into a category where it's party dresses that are like cocktail dresses for more grown-up occasions, okay? Like you don't wear these dresses to a rave. Do people still go on raves? I don't know, but you go to a cocktail party, you go to, weddings, dress rehearsals for weddings, work functions. Everyone needs clothes for those functions too. I just mentioned some very common events. So maybe you branch out in that way, but your kernel story is, I want young people to feel strong and confident when they wear my clothes. Okay, that's that feeling that you take away. What is your brand story? And if you're not building a brand, think about the project. It's like when you have a project and you're putting it together for your portfolio. Even then, for this specific project, how do you want the customer to feel wearing your clothes? Don't write a fucking essay, all right? Just a couple of sentences. I want my customers to feel strong and empowered in my suits. I want my customer to feel like they are pretty, that they're precious, that they're desirable. Okay? What is that feeling? Because it's this feeling and these stories that you create that are going to carry you collection to collection, even when visible trends change season to season. So that's my design philosophy. Remember your customer. Remember logistically what it is your customer is looking for. What tangible object does your customer need or desire in their lives? And then what is that feeling that you want your customers to feel when they put on your clothes. As you're designing, remind yourself. When you're doing your final edit and you're laying out all your sketches and you're like, what's going into the final collection? What are the pieces that really stay true to the DNA of your brand? And so when your brain is going a million places because you just love designing and creating so much that you're just constantly thinking of new shit, and you're like, oh my God, I have a million new ideas and the stuff that I liked 4 weeks ago no longer apply. When you get there, most of us get there more often than we like. Return to your DNA, return to your customers' needs. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Share, subscribe, all those beautiful things. Drop me questions, drop me comments, and I will see you in the next video.